Days ago, Arizona Democrat Adelita Grijalva won a special election to fill her late father's congressional seat by 40 points. But Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson has still not allowed her to be sworn into office. Now, Republicans say that it's because the House has not returned to a normal session. But it just so happens that once sworn in, Grijalva would be the crucial 218th signature on the bipartisan petition to force a House vote on releasing the Epstein files. Speaking to CBS News yesterday, Speaker Johnson said it was all no big deal and that Grijalva would be sworn in next week.
Representative Grijalva, who won a special election last week in Arizona, she's yet to be sworn in. I know you're not in session, but you've sworn in Republicans out of session. Why not her? Does it have anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, the House is not on the floor doing business this week, but we will do it immediately early next week as soon as everyone returns to town. Except not so fast, because this afternoon, Johnson changed his mind and said the House would not reconvene next week after all. Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva of Arizona joins me now. I'm going to call you Congresswoman. It's very good to have you on. Congratulations on your victory.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I wish I was already sworn in. I was in D.C. We had an opportunity to do it during a pro forma session. It would have really been very helpful to be able to be a voice for the people of this community that elected me to work.
Well, so I want to just put this so people get a sense of this. So special elections actually happen fairly frequently. Members retire, unfortunately, like your father, who my condolences passed away. I knew him pretty well. He's a great guy. These special elections happen fairly often. And you'll see there, like in 2025, the two Republicans in Florida were sworn in the next day. The Democrat who replaced Jerry Connolly in Virginia, James Walkinshaw, he was sworn in the next day. Have you received official communication from the Speaker's office or the House about why you are still not yet sworn in?
No, there has been no direct communication with the Speaker's office, which has been very frustrating because most of the time I'm hearing it secondhand from reporters who have asked for a statement, just like the CBS one. I mean, really, it's coming up on a Google alert, and that's how I'm finding out. And so when we heard that it was going to be on the 7th, I have 3 children, my husband, they want to be a part of this very special moment.
Yes.
And so I made arrangements. I am not a travel agent, so I made arrangements, took me forever. And now I'm like, so what do we do now? And the frustration for me, really, personally, that is an annoyance. But for the people of this community in the middle of a government shutdown, when we have so many people that are here, we have people that work on base, work at the VA, we have, the airport here. There are going to be people who are going to need services from their federally elected, their office. And we don't have, the doors are locked and closed. I can't onboard staff, can't hire anybody.
So, this is a little like what happened after the 2020 election, where all the kind of plumbing of how like an election victory becomes a president got exposed, because usually it just happens in the background. Like, realizing as I talk to you, I don't actually understand the process here. The House has to formally recognize you. Like, are we waiting on the Speaker and he has to do something affirmatively?
Basically, you have the dean of in this case, the Democrats, which what used to be my dad will now be Greg Stanton, is going to introduce me and basically say, here she is. Her election results are, very clear. Here she is. And then he says what he did with Walkinshaw is like, we accept the unofficial results without question, and then hand the time over to the representative in a special to be able to say a few words. And that's it. You're sworn in. You get the little button. You get to go around everywhere. In this case, when I was in D.C., I'm basically a tourist. And so I couldn't go anywhere without being escorted by Leader Jeffrey's staff, who was very accommodating, by the way. Other offices were very helpful in trying to, just help me navigate, because I don't have any security clearance. I don't have staff. They're able to get into these areas in the back that are protected for very good reason. And so when I came out with all of the other members of the Democratic caucus, I had to be escorted in there. So my nameplate is where my dad's used to be. And it is in the Longworth building, but all the doors are locked and I can't go into that office.
Donald Trump cannot escape his Jeffrey Epstein problem or statue. The statue of Trump holding hands with the dead convicted sex offender returned to the National Mall yesterday after it was removed by the National Park Service last week. The statue has a title. It's called Best Friends Forever. It includes a plaque that reads, quote, "In honor of Friendship Month, we celebrate the long-standing bond between President Donald J. Trump and his closest friend, Jeffrey Epstein," end quote. The group responsible for the statue tells Axios in an email this, quote, "Just like a toppled Confederate general forced back onto a public square, the Donald Trump Jeffrey Epstein statue has risen from the rubble to stand gloriously on the National Mall once again," end quote. The Epstein case also being kept in the news today by Donald Trump's own pick to be the country's commerce secretary, a man named Howard Lutnick. Howard is facing mounting calls to testify today before the House Oversight Committee in the Epstein investigation after he made these bombshell remarks.
Why is there now such a dearth of information when, Donald Trump's people are running the FBI and the DOJ?
I assume way back when they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits and be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender. How could he get 18 months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff? It must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge, but my assumption is there was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos.
What? Quote, how did he get 18 months? He's a convicted sex offender. On that, I'm with Lutnick. Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. She serves on the House Oversight Committee, which is investigating the Epstein case. Mara and Basil are still here. Congresswoman, you want to talk to Howard Lutnick, too?
Absolutely. Listen, I mean, he said, I don't know. But one thing is clear. He knew enough to know that he did not want to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein and that he was his neighbor. He talked about the fact that he was into some questionable things. So I'm sure he's seen people come and go, and he seems pretty confident that there were videos of this. So I would absolutely love to kind of dig in a little bit more and at least get a list of names to work from and start to kind of build backwards and do the work that Alex Acosta and that DOJ failed to do.
I'm sworn in.
Okay. There is, you saw our introduction. I want to confirm one thing first. When you are sworn in, do you intend to sign the discharge petition that would force a vote on the release of the Epstein files?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So I would be 218. And that seems to, I mean, at first I was trying not to be a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay.
I also have been the same. Like, maybe there's something I'm missing here.
Right. It doesn't have anything to do with these files, but that is literally the only thing I can point to. It's not like me getting sworn in is going to change, now the Democrats will be in the majority. I mean, there are certain things that are not going to change, where Democrats will still be in the minority. That is literally the only thing that is different in, me getting sworn in versus Representative Walkinshaw or Petronis or Fine. They were literally sworn in less than 24 hours after their election.
And they can always do just a pro forma session, right? The fact that being out of session doesn't bar it. They can change the rules however they want, and obviously Democrats would accommodate that. So that doesn't make sense either. And there's no reason they can't do it during a shutdown because Congress is still funded because Congress is a separate branch of government, right?
Correct. And I believe it was 219. We were in a shutdown and the entire class was sworn in during a shutdown. So that's not the issue either. I can't think of anything else. And,
I can't either. I'm going.
The timing is certainly suspicious for sure.
But your point too is like, yes, if that's part of it or that's the reason, but the people in your district deserve a representative in Congress. You had a special election. It's been 10 days. There are people, like you said, like VA employees, other folks who are going to be affected by the shutdown who should have some member they can go to and say, hey, what do I do? What if I don't know about what's going to happen with our paychecks? And they don't have that right now.
Donald Trump and his allies in Congress are playing the same old game. Stall, distract, and bury the truth. And right now, it's all centered on the Epstein files. And Adelita Grijalva won her special election in Arizona by a landslide, 40 points. And yet, days later, she remains unsworn. Why? Because once she raises her right hand, she becomes signature number 218 on the bipartisan petition to force a vote to release the Epstein files. That's the number Republicans don't want to see. Speaker Mike Johnson first brushed it off, telling reporters that she would be sworn in sometime next week. Then, surprisingly, he suddenly changed course and canceled the session altogether. The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Republicans moved immediately to seat their own members within 24 hours after their special elections. Grijalva has been frozen out for one reason. Her presence tips the scales toward transparency, and transparency is exactly what Trump fears most. Think about it. Any possible excuse collapses on contact. The House isn't in session. False. Pro forma sessions have been used many times before. Government shutdown. Irrelevant. Congress continues to operate as a separate branch. None of these explanations or any other clarifies why Grijalva remains locked out of her own office while her district goes without representation. The only explanation that makes sense is the Epstein petition and the growing panic around what and who is inside those files. At the same time, Trump's name keeps circling the scandal, no matter how hard he tries to shake it. There was this statue of Trump holding hands with Epstein that just popped back up in D.C., complete with the plaque celebrating their long-standing bond. Look at those two best of friends. His own Commerce Secretary Pick even suggested Epstein's sweetheart deal was bought with blackmail videos. That's not just conspiracy. That's someone in Trump's inner circle saying the quiet part out loud. So, here we are, a new congresswoman sidelined, a shutdown hanging over the country, and the speaker bending over backward to keep one file cabinet locked. Trump and his allies want people to believe this is politics as usual. The truth is far more basic. It's about their fear. Their fear of what happens when those files finally see the daylight. When we finally see who is in those Epstein files.